You probably saw this picture. It's from right here in Wisconsin, but you may not have seen its correction. In this News 3 Now investigation in partnership with Wisconsin Watch, Naomi Coles shows us why the misinformation spread and why it is so hard to stop.
Keith Klein is a self-described media junkie.
Because I subscribe to the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, the Atlantic Monthly.
The Menominee Falls business owner says he's passionate about liberal causes. That's led to Keith spending a lot of time on Twitter recently.
At least I found like-minded people who are as outraged at everything that's happening as I am.
That rage is why he clicked retweet on this post in August.
What goes through your mind when you first saw that picture?
Corruption on the part of the postmaster, a lazy postman, or just an anomaly of some type.
That post depicting post office boxes piled in a Wisconsin lot was presented as voter suppression. Fact checks would eventually show it wasn't.
And you could see it kind of take on a life of its own.
We teamed up with Wisconsin Watch to show you just how that played out.
So any fact check or debunk style article after the fact generally doesn't have the same reach and influence as the misinformation itself.
It starts on August 14th with a post on Reddit. 90 minutes later, another Reddit post pops up. Neither gets a lot of traction. An hour later comes this first super spreader. A Florida-based activist tweets it out. In all, it's retweeted more than 80,000 times. A screenshot of the tweet migrates to Facebook and Instagram. Actors, influencers, and commentators share and retweet it. A lot of the spread happens over the weekend. Fact checks didn't come out until Monday. A photojournalist tweets this fact-checking thread, picking up about 12,000 retweets. A PolitiFact article the same day generates just several hundred shares between Facebook and Twitter. Others give the fact check some traction, but see for yourself how these two spreads compare.
Just eye-opening to see how fast something like that can take off.
Election integrity reporter Howard Hardy was tracking its growth as it happened.
Saw it kind of get picked up and shared in these leaps and bounds where like a big influencer would share the image and like make some unverified claim like this is real, this is happening in Wisconsin.
Around the same time, this out-of-context photo started circulating, saying it showed a postal worker stealing Trump signs. He was stealing signs, but that was 4 years ago in Delaware, and USPS already investigated.
Swing states were definitely being targeted more with misinformation than other states.
Global nonprofit Avaz recently released research showing more than 2/3 of Wisconsin voters in a group of about 1,000 surveyed had seen false claims on Facebook. 8 out of 10 Wisconsin voters, for example, saw the debunked claim that Joe Biden wants to raise taxes on the middle class.
It's not just followers of one political party or one side of the spectrum that believe these lies. All of us have probably fallen to some of these pieces of misinformation.
And while some of it starts small, other misinformation has been coming from the top.
They found 50,000 in a river. They found 50.
When our political elites give us reason to question the methods by which we vote, they could influence whether we choose to vote, whether we accept the results of an election, and how we might respond if there's a contestation over who won.
The flood of falsehoods, meanwhile, is leaving voters in a bit of a fog.
People have a hard time telling the difference.
Keith Klein says he's wary and trying to tone down the rage.
Tried to temper my post, not to just attack the other side or say gotcha or to believe anything at first sight, but to actually read about it and then repost.
That tweet, by the way, remains up and unflagged on Twitter. The Florida activist behind much of the original spread declined to discuss the post with Naomi, and Twitter said it tightened its policies on misinformation after that post.